Welcome to the Godot BootCamp lesson on posting a score to a leaderboard. In this lesson, we're going to be posting a score to the main leaderboard using the post score to leaderboard request. Taking a look at the API reference, we can see the parameters that are required for this request. We need to pass in the leaderboard ID, the score, and some optional JSON data. Click the JSON response to familiarize ourselves with the response data that the post score leaderboard request will return. Open Visual Studio Code and navigate to the network.cs file. Declare a pair of public callback delegates to handle the post score to leaderboard response. Scroll down and below the request leaderboard method, declare a public method called postScoreLeaderboard. This method takes in the leaderboard ID, the time, the user's nickname, and the callback delegates as the parameters. In the body, check to see if the user is authenticated. If the user is not authenticated, format an error message and then invoke the handle request error method, passing in the error message and the error delegate as the arguments. If the user is authenticated, declare success callback lambda. In the body of the lambda, log the response data. Then, if the success callback delegate is not null, it will be invoked. Declare failure callback lambda. In the body of the lambda, format an error message. And then invoke the handle request error method, passing in the error message and the error delegate as the arguments. Next, convert the time from a float in seconds to a long in milliseconds. Then format the JSON data for the nickname. Invoke brainCloud's leaderboard services post score leaderboard request, passing in the leaderboard ID, the score, the JSON data, and the success and failure callback lambdas as the arguments. Above this method, declare a public overloaded post score leaderboard method. Notice that this method does not take in the nickname parameter. In the body, we'll invoke the post score leaderboard method, and in the place of the nickname, we'll use the username as the argument. Save the file and then navigate to the postscore.dialog.cs file. This class is responsible for displaying a dialog box to enter a nickname when a score is about to be posted. This dialog box will only be displayed if the player does not have a username set. If the player already has a username set, then the score will be posted immediately. Declare a pair of private network post score request delegates. Modify the set method to take in the post score request delegates. In the body of the set method, delete the to-do comment, and in its place, assign the post score request parameters to the post score request member variables. In the onSubmit button click method below, invoke the network's post score to leaderboard method, passing in the main leaderboard ID constant, the time, the input field's text, and the callback delegates as the arguments. Since the username was not set, invoke the network's update username request, passing in the input field's text as the argument. Save the file and then navigate to the dialogmanager.cs file. Scroll down and find the show post score dialog method. Modify the method's parameter list to take in the network's post score request delegates. In the body of the method, pass in the post score request parameters into the post score dialog set method. Save the file and then navigate to the game.cs file. Scroll down to the bottom. Declare a public method called onPostScoreRequestCompleted. This method will be invoked when a score is successfully posted. In the body of the method, invoke the leaderboard's manager's setUserTime method, passing in the MELAPSTime member variable as the argument. Then invoke the network manager's requestLeaderboard method, passing in the main leaderboard ID constant and the onLeaderboardRequestCompleted method as the arguments. We re-request the leaderboard here since the player just posted a new score to the server and they may now be in the top 10 of the leaderboard. Simply put, we want to display the most up-to-date leaderboard to the user. In the onLeaderboardRequestCompleted method above, add an if statement to check if the game is over. Add the method's original two statements that hide the connecting dialog and show the main menu to the body of an else statement. In that if statement, write another if statement that checks to see if the game mode is endless and that the leaderboard's name is the main leaderboard. Then in the inner if statement, show the play again dialog and show the leaderboard dialog. Scroll up and find the process method. In the highlighted section, delete the to-do statement. In its place, check to see if the user is authenticated. In the situation where the user is not authenticated, simply add to an else statement the existing show play again dialog statement. If the user is authenticated, then check to see if the username is saved. If the username is saved, invoke the network's post-score leaderboard method, passing in the main leaderboard ID constant, the elapsed time, and the onPostScore request completed method as the arguments. If the username is not saved, show the post-score dialog instead, passing in the elapsed time and the onPostScore request completed method as the arguments. Save the file and then compile the code. If the code compiled successfully, open the Godot editor. Run the game. Click brainCloud, then Leaderboards. There's the score that we posted in the previous lesson. Let's try and beat that score. Close the dialog. Then, from the main menu, click Endless Mode. I'm going to speed up the video playback to save some time. The ship has exploded and the game is over. The score was immediately posted to brainCloud because we had set a username in a previous lesson. Integrating the leaderboard into the game's heads-up display is the next lesson in the Godot BootCamp.